movie review. This is from WikiLeaks. One False Move, 1992 American crime thriller, directed by Carl Franklin, co-written by Billy Bob Thornton. The film stars Thornton alongside Bill Paxton and Cinda Williams. Three criminals, Ray, Pluto and Fantasia, that's Ray's girlfriend, commit 6 brutal murders over the course of one night in LA as they seek a cache of money and cocaine, and then they leave for Houston to sell the cocaine to a friend of Pluto's. And that's the brief summary of the plot. And other notables are the detectives John McFeely and Dud Cole, and the reviews positive. Nominated for the Grand Prix in Belgium. Didn't sell that much. That made a loss of $1 million. Roger Ebert said the movie lifts you up and carries you along in a ominously rising tide of tension, building to an emotional payoff of emotional power. On a short list of great movies about violent criminals, besides such likes as In Cold Blood, Henry Portrait of Serial Killer, Badlands, The Executioner Song and At Close Range. Great film, one of the best of the year, and announces the arrival of the new director Carl Franklin. Okay, that seems like so the opening frames Thornton and his crew too. His girlfriend want to get hold of some cocaine, and they get a tip off via his girlfriend that a friend of hers lives with a dealer, so they go to that house, and Thornton is quite succinct way eventually brutalizes the girl and finds out that through her boyfriend that her boyfriend is actually dealing for another guy who's basically running the show. That leads them to go to another place, and basically what happens is that both premises are subjected to administering of the last rites, as 6 of the people there are found murdered. Although we don't actually see it, we see the result of it. And Thornton and his colleague and the girlfriend failed to notice that a videotape was taking place in the house when they stormed it, which suggests that they're going to be down in Star City, which is in Arkansas. We then end up there, and the city police then have to, with the help of the local priest played by Bill Paxton, track down the whereabouts of this contact in Star City, who it's assumed is either buy the dope, or it was some way linked to the dope. It's fairly predictable stuff. I do like a scene where Bill Paxton's character is about to take a new set of Western police. Franklin captures the mood succinctly. We see a scene where Thornton's character and his girlfriend are in a store off the road. They go off the road to get some things, and there's a cop in the store buying a drink. He's a local and he's familiar with the young woman who works there, and Thornton, who's a psycho, starts to get really heightened and starts to get paranoid, thinking that the cop knows that he might be responsible for the 6 murders, which of course he is, but it ratchets up the tension perfectly. The tension continues as they hit the road. The 2 blacks and the white, of course, have been itemised as possible suspects in the murder of 6 in LA. And this trooper in in Texas now, is aware of this, and he's using his intercom to link to the station and ask for them to check up on the registration plate. He suspects something untoward. Inside the other car, of course, Thornton's case is going completely off the rails. He's becoming more and more paranoid, and the black guy sitting in the rear is trying desperately to calm him down. As they're out on the highway, it's pitch black, and of course there is the possibility that if they're pulled over, Thornton could completely lose it and pull his weapon and shoot the trooper dead cold. Contrasting that, there's a rather serious scene as Paxton's sort of yokel style of policing is mixed up with the professionalism of the LA PD, and in a restaurant, Paxton's superior is told the story by the LAPD guys about Paxton's interest in possibly working in Los Angeles, and the tone of the conversation is almost ridiculous. Unfortunately, Paxton's overhearing this conversation. He's been labelled as a cop who's haphazard, a country yokel, and probably incapable of dealing with such an assignment. And you can visibly see Franklin's cinematography as Paxton's facial features become more and more twisted and, one could say, rather angry at hearing his character torn to pieces as a potential LA cop. Anyway, he then gets, Paxton character gets contact to say that they've got a photo of the three responsible for likely to be responsible for the death of the trooper, and he announces that to the two LA cops, who then become aware that he's probably overheard everything they could say. We then shift to Houston in Texas, where the characters, and I've got their names now, Ray is Thornton's character, Fantasia is his girlfriend, and Pluto is the brother of Fantasia, and they arrive at another guy's house in Houston. What came to mind was the contrast between local policing in a small town and policing in an urban town. The approaches by Dixon, played by Paxson, being familiar with Fantasia, aka Lila, and when he and his LA colleagues visit Lila's parents and ask for their cooperation if she contacts them. The brother hears the conversation and later picks up Fantasia, who goes on ahead, this being seen as a good idea by Pluto, so that there aren't three of them travelling together. But Dixon's pride has been hurt, and his emotions are stirred up now, and he gets a bit irritated at his caring wife as he wants to go and stalk the house to see the comings and goings. He wants to intercept, I guess, and talk with Fantasia. The complexity of the emotions is being illustrated quite neatly now. There are elements within this movie that brought to my attention about Reservoir Dogs. The anticipation that people are going to do what you think they're going to do, and then they don't, and it fucks up the plan. Pluto assumes that Ray has money so that he can pay for half of the coke, and there's a transfer of coke so that they have half each. But unfortunately Ray has given his money to Fantasia to take to her folks. It's another sort of occasion in this movie where the plan on the outside looked tremendous, and it's bit by bit falling apart. One False Move is the title, and it seems to be a lot of false moves rather than one. Paxman's character follows Lila's brother while he is escorting his son for a visit. Of course, Paxman follows in his car, and later, after the access visit, or whatever you like to call it, he goes into the place where Lila's resting up, and then we hear a few truths, like the cop really broke the law when he had intercourse with Lila underage, and the cop basically wants to hand her over to the LA police, but she persuades him that it wouldn't be wise to bring the police here because she won't answer the phone when Ray and Pluto contact. So there's a sort of web really where they both need each other to try and escape the mess that they've got themselves caught up in. As we move towards the final scenes, the tension mounts. It's quite an emotionally gripping movie. You know, we've got the Lila who's sort of got her foot in both camps. She's got a relationship with the cop from the past, and she's also got Ray, who's her current beau. Dale is the name of the cop, and Ray's heading toward her, and Dale is at that moment holding her under house arrest as such, and he's on the one hand wanting to steer her to safety, but on the other hand he's clearly, as a cop, wanting to somehow get Ray and Pluto in custody. And the performances are solid as well. As the two vehicles, the cop car with the kid, Ray and Pluto in the other, run off the main drag in parallel, we get an accompaniment of a solo harmonica blues player, which captivates exactly where we all are.